today you will learn how the trade system works and how to get rich in this game. On this map you can see how many goods and resources are produced in each region. To earn money, you need to understand how they interact with each other and how to compete with other traders. Currently on the map you can see all resources because I have enabled trade goods overlay. So we can see horses, fish, wine, furs and others available for each region. But to know more, you need to select the region, and here on the left there is trade details icon, which will give you much more information. As you can see, the map is highlighting our trade range from how far this region can import resources. And we have three types of resources. Natural trade goods, so those that are naturally available in the region. Then we have manufactured trade goods. It means that some buildings that I have in this region, in this case stud, produce horses. That's why, thanks to this building, I have manufactured resource called horses. And I can export this resource and make money, or use it as a bonus for different structures. And the third group is imported trade goods. Because here we are producing horses, but in other region, somebody else is producing hemp. In case of imports, you can see this green arrow. It's visualizing from where we are importing. So hemp is imported from a region that belongs to Sarmatia, and this is the trade route. Currently, we don't export anything, so we earn nothing, but we import hemp, and the trade value for hemp is 4. That's why the overall balance is negative, and we lose 4 money each round. So how to improve our situation? Of course, best it would be to export our natural or manufactured resources, but as you can see in the parentheses, we have 0 regions that are importing this resource, and also here. That's why we earn 0 for figs and 0 for horses. So when the import happens, why we could import hemp to this region? To import something, there need to be a need to import something, and the need is provided by buildings. So which building needs hemp? If we hover hemp, you can see that there's information, structures needing this trade good, and this harbor and major harbor. And indeed, we have here harbor. And you can see there is an icon with an arrow that we need hemp. If I click, also you can read that this building needs hemp, and it's imported from Pantyrapes from Sarmatia, and it cost us 4 money. So we are paying the full value of this resource, because as we already checked, trade value is 4. So you have learned that some buildings create a need to import some resources. And it's a very good situation if we can import something. Best if I could import it from my own territory. Then it would cost me only half of the trade value. But the worst situation is if I cannot import it. So let's check if we have other region that cannot import. Here you can see that we are missing trade goods. It means that anything in that row is very dangerous to our budget, because we cannot import some resource that is needed by our buildings. In this case, stables are needing horses, and we miss the import possibility. That's why it cost us 3 times the trade value of the resource. So it's a very bad situation. Why we cannot import horses if nearby they are horses? And please notice that the horses are highlighted. It means that they are in a trade range of our region, because here you can read that trade range for this region is 2 regions. So from this region I can count 1, 2, and here 1, 2, and all regions in our range are highlighted. So why I cannot import those horses? And if we now click the political overlay, you can see that we are at war with Bosphorus. They are in red color. It means that we have war, and we cannot trade with somebody that we are at war with. So how I can check where are nearby horses? One way is to click on the region where you see some horses, and then click the icon of the resource. Then the map will filter out everything that is not horses. So now if I zoom out, you can see that here is a horse, here is horse, and here. But the small icon means that there is a horse available through the import. So if I click, you can see that the horses are imported from here to here. They are available in that region, but I cannot import from this region. I can import only from the region where there is a big icon. So they are producing, because this region is importing horses and this region is producing horses. In this case, this is natural trade good, but they are too far away because my trade range is only 2. So I have nobody in a range that I could trade with. So sometimes a lack of resources can even lead to a war. And we declared war to Bosphorus, and now we can send our armies to conquer this region, and then it will be ours. So it will be much cheaper to trade with this region in future. But let's check what happened before the war. I have loaded previous round, and you can check the political overlay. We don't have war with Bosphorus. It means that we can trade horses. So now, if I click this region and go to trade details, you can see that we are importing horses because they are in our trade range, and we are paying 5 money. So the full cost of the resource. So during the war, we were paying 3 times the cost, and now we are paying full cost of horses, which is a basic trade value for horses. But wait, we said that if we cannot trade, we pay 3 times the price. So we should pay 15. As you remember, we were paying 12. So why there is such difference? It's because the trade acumen, as you can read, will also help lower the cost of missing trade goods. So normally I would pay 3 times 5, so 15 money, but it's decreased by 3. So if we will miss this good, we will pay only 12. So it's good to have trade acumen as high as possible. Also, trade acumen means how competitive our merchants are. Because as you can see, we have the same resources in multiple regions. So if we will have better range and we'll have more resources available to import, from which region we will import. And we can import only from one region, and the region will receive our money. That's why trade acumen was introduced to this game to highlight which region has better merchants who can fight for good deals. And the region with best trade acumen might be the winner if there is a competition between multiple regions which offer the same goods. So let's find a faction that has high acumen. We can go to the reports, so our ledger, and we can go to factions. And here you can see how many acumens they have. What's the strength of acumen in each faction? For example, here you can see 7. Carthage. They are very rich, so they should have quite good trade situation. I can click and go there. And there is Tunis. And if we go to trade details, please notice that they are manufacturing hemp, and 4 regions are importing hemp from them. And they could earn 28 money from those 4 regions. They have trade acumen 7 and trade range 4. This number is blue because we have harbor, which means we can also trade by sea. That's why we can see those blue lines, sea routes for trading. So who is buying from this region? So Etruria and Campania are importing hemp and also 2 internal trade routes. So first, maybe let's click hemp to filter, zoom out, and you can see that we are exporting here, and our trade acumen is 7. And please notice that in Rome, they also produce hemp, but instead of doing a local trade between themselves, they are importing from us. And this is because our traders are much stronger, much more competitive. They are going here, and they are advertising, doing some deals. They know how to convince local markets to trade from this direction. That's why Rome is not earning money, because there is high competition from those guys. And if we click on Rome, they have trade acumen 3, and this is a problem for them. They can only do some local import and export of different goods, but hemp is imported from a region where we have acumen 7. And important information that if we produce good, we can sell it indefinitely. So 4 or 10 or 100 regions could buy from us. There is no limit. In this case, we are exporting to 4 regions and the trade value is 4, so they should earn 16, but they earn 28. How this is possible? It's because of the commerce. And as you can read, this is a percentage value that will rise or lower our possible source of money income. So if you increase 16 by 73%, you will receive 28 rounded. So it's good to have big range, high acumen, and high commerce to be rich. So overall, they have net plus 50 money, mainly by exporting. Let's enable all sources. Okay, so we have learned how the import and export works. And please notice that the blue lines means that this is the water-based trade routes. And they are available if you have buildings like harbor. In case of Tunis, they have their own unique upgrade for the major harbor, but normal regions, they have harbor or arconage, which allows the sea-based trading. And then our trade range will be blue, which means we can trade over the sea. And if we zoom out, you can see that even with trade range 4, because they have sea-based trading and good location, they can reach quite big area, but only regions where there is also harbor. So this region, they cannot trade with them, but here they can because there is, we zoom in, harbor. So the range is quite big. And if we click Rhodos Island, you can see that they have trade acumen 7, but the range is 7. And if we zoom out, you can see that they can trade with half of the world using their sea-based trade routes. So let's go back to Tunis, and you remember there is also internal trading with ERIX, and if we don't know where is ERIX, we can use the search option and we can select the region. It's here. So you can see that the trade value is 4, but our trading cost is 2 because this is internal trading. So we are paying only half of the trade value, but the target region will receive the full amount. So it's good to have internal trading because we have a net increase. Okay, but in trading, the money that we get from export is not everything because there is something called bonus goods. And let's go back to our initial example. You can see that here we are missing bonus trade goods. There is some building that would benefit from the fish existence. And this is coastal market. They produce food and some money, but they could produce additional 8 food if there will be a fish resource available and when the bonus can be applied, if the fish will be in that region or in the nearby region. But it needs to be adjacent, so not this one. From this we could import, and if we would import, then it will be available for us and also the bonus would apply. For this region and for the nearby regions, I will load a different save to visualize it better. Okay, I have loaded round 3. We have conquered those 2 regions, so soon we'll be able to do internal trading. So the horses will decrease the prices in this region, but we are missing fish resource. So how to receive fish? Fish can be a natural resource like here. If I click this water region, you can see that there is fish resource. And it will be available for any regions that are adjacent to this one. So in this case, if I have here coastal market, you can see that they have higher food production because they include bonus from the fish resource from the nearby region. But in case of this region, there is no fish here. So what I can do is try to hope that there will be a building that let me to produce fish resource. And here I am lucky, the game randomized from all those buildings fishery and I can produce fish. And you can see also there is information. A single nearby structure should produce more. Expected base changes food +8. So it already recognized that if I will select this building, there is another building that needs fish as a bonus, and the bonus will provide 8 additional food. But building in this place would be not the best because this is capital And for capital, I would like to keep the free slots for something better, like culture buildings or maybe military buildings. Best would be to use this region, where, as you can see, I also can build fishery. So here, if I will build fishery, they will produce fish in this region, and all nearby regions will benefit from that production as their bonuses. So here I will also receive a bonus from that production. But if the market would be here, they would not benefit from this region, because only the adjacent region can benefit. And the same happens if I will do import. Let's find some region where it happens. So zoom out. You can see many regions, many resources. Maybe let's find some region that is doing an import. In this case, I am interested in hemp. Now I am filtering only hemp, and I'm looking for the small icons of hemp. You can see this region is importing hemp, and they have a shipyard. And shipyard is receiving a bonus 10 equipment because of the hemp. And this hemp is imported. And also, if the shipyard would be here, this region also could benefit from this import in that region. So import is benefiting all buildings that needs a resource in that region, or they use it as a bonus, and all nearby regions, but only if they use it as a bonus. So if here there is something that needs hemp, it needs to import it on its own. And not from here, but from the region that produce hemp. So from this one, for example. But if the range would be not enough, and this building will need hemp, then they have a problem. They cannot use this one imported, because it's only for the needs of that region and for bonuses of nearby regions. So that's why import is also very important to satisfy bonuses in our nearby regions. Okay, but checking each region, if there is a missing trade good or if there is missing bonus trade good, would be quite annoying and time consuming. So how to check that? And for this purpose, on the map, we have colors. So if you enable the trade goods overlay, you can read in the description that if the region is red, it means that there are 3 or more missing goods. So for example, where we have red region here, you can see they have 4 missing goods. So this is very bad. They are paying a lot of money because of this. So that's why this region is red, because it signals that there is something bad. What else we can read? If the region is orange, it means that we are missing only 1 or 2 goods. So the situation is much better. So here we miss 1 and here we miss 2. That's why they are only orange, to bring our attention, but this is not critical situation like here. And blue, what does it mean? Blue means that we have 5 or more missing bonus trade goods. So we are not talking about those that are needed by some buildings, but we are talking about missing bonus trade goods. So bonus trade goods are not cost us any money, but we are missing a lot of opportunities because we do not receive all bonuses that we could. So the blue regions are also worth our attention because there is a lot of resources that we could import to this region or to nearby regions to benefit the buildings that could use those resources as a bonus. And what buildings? If we hover, you can see if there will be olive oil nearby, then the tavern building will provide us additional for money as a bonus. Same here. If cattle would be available nearby, then the tavern building would provide additional for money. So if we find tavern building, you can see a missing bonus for money from cattle and olive oil. So in this region, we have a lot of opportunities for bonuses. And if you will be able to import cattle to this region or even to this nearby or to this one, here the tavern will still receive the bonus. But from where we can import it? On the bottom you can see cattle can be found at distance 2. And there are 2 nearby regions where we can import. One of them is even our own, Macedonia. So here you can see there is cattle and they are exporting it. And they are in the import range of this region because the range is 3. So 1, 2, 3. We should be able to import this, but why we are not importing? Because we don't have building that needs cattle, because bonus is not triggering the import. So what building will trigger the import? In the middle you can read structures needing this trade good. So smokehouse, tannery, Ishtar gate, those three buildings, if will exist here or in the nearby region, can import from this region cattle, and then they will provide a bonus for tavern in this region. So the hint provides a very useful information regarding production and import buildings. But relying on the one or two regions in the close distance is not enough. For better planning for your resources, you can use the ledger report. You can close this one. And if we go to regions trade goods, you will see in the selected faction all produced or imported resources and the distance to the region which might provide such goods. So you can filter to the neutral factions, enemies, allies, or self. In this case I am playing Skytia, but let's say I filter to neutral and I can browse all factions. So what does it mean? It means that they are providing by manufacturing or by exporting such goods. You can see some of the regions are quite rich in goods, and the green color means that they are already exporting. So if I click this one, you can see pottery and stone have numbers in the parentheses, means that we are exporting pottery to one region, and to 5 regions we could export pottery. That's why they are green. And here you can see what is the trade income from that export for this region. But the important part is also a distance. If you have selected any region, the distance is 0. And here we can see a distance to that selected region. So in our case, if we will filter to Macedonia and filter our region that we were checking before, you can see we are manufacturing horses. That's why horses are visible here. And also natural trade good is gold. So we see here gold. This number is the same that we see here. So the overall difference between export and import, and this is negative in our case, but the distance is quite important, because if we are looking, for example, for cattle, you can see that this region could provide us cattle. So we could import from this region. But for example, we might need ceramics. So I can select only ceramics here, and then I can select all neutral regions. And I can see what is the distance to regions that can offer this good. So not many. Regarding cattle, you can see quite many regions are offering this one. And I can filter here by the trade distance. So you can see the closest is the one that we already saw. But here I can see other possibilities. And our region is not visible here because I have filtered only 2 regions that can provide this good. So it's quite useful to find any markets from where we could import missing resources. Okay, and now how we can increase the trade range? Because the basic trade range value depends on your civilization level. So if we go to the nation panel, if we click here, currently we are horde, so we are level 1, but in future we can evolve to level 2. So we can become a chiefdom, and then in future we can even become level 3 confederation. So on level 3, the basic trade range is 5, on level 2 is 3, and on level 1 it's 2. So if we go to Scythia, you can see that the trade range is 2 because of their civilization level. But how we can increase it further? You can build a special buildings and roads. So for example, normal public works don't increase the range, but regional roads, they increase trade range bonus by 1, and also they increase commerce. And if we go to Rome, probably they have very good roads, level 3 paved road, they increase trade range bonus by 2 and commerce by 20. So the better the roads, the better the trade range in that region. So the national range affects all regions, but the roads are affecting the region where they are built. The other buildings that can increase the range of our trading are, for example, here, trade port. trade range bonus +2, and commerce bonus 30%. So in general, some buildings from the yellow section, so responsible for money, might increase commerce and trade range. And now quite important information that I forgot to mention. For example, cattle import and trade acumens. Please notice that this region is importing cattle from here. But the question is, why not from here? It's closer. So why those two regions do not export the same resource, but it's imported from here? Let's double check. This region belongs to Rome. They have trade acumen 3. And this region belongs to CLTC, and the trade acumen is also free. So merchants are not better in advertising this region. There is another factor that in such situations where the trade acumen is equal can give you some benefits if you can produce more goods of the same type. So in this case, the same faction is producing cattle here and here. And the more goods you produce, the more is also your export power. So that's why they are importing from here, because they are more familiar with providing such type of good than this region. But if Rome would conquer this region, then they would have equal amount of goods, and then probably this one could be chosen because it's closer. So having more goods is also beneficial if you cannot increase the acumens. And acumens can be also increased by some decisions. Here I have loaded different game to show you that if we go to nation panel, to the decisions, I have improved trade efficiency. And now if I go to modifiers, you can see that we improved trade efficiency and we have trade acumen bonus +5, but the duration is only 3 rounds. So decisions can be powerful. And here there is late game. If I enable now trade goods overlay, please notice how many resources are in each region. So the more the game progresses, the more resources can be produced in each region. And trade can be also used as a strategy during a war. For example, if I would block this port using my warships, then they will have a big problem, because currently they are exporting for 71 money. And here, please notice, 159 only from export. So if I would block this port, they will lose that amount, and this might be a problem to their war economy. So trade can be also a tool that you can use to weaken your enemies. I hope this video was useful and you can learn how to make money and become a rich faction in Field of Glory Empires. Thank you for watching and see you later.